Hello, my name is Justin B. Terry Smith. I'm black, gay, and I live right outside of DC with my beautiful husband, Dr. Philip B. Terry Smith. We also just moved into a house and we have lots of friends and family that live close by. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have HIV. I was diagnosed in 2006 and infected in 2005. I didn't know what I was going to do when I found out. I cried about it several times, and then I thought, why am I crying? I'm not going to die anytime soon, nor am I planning my funeral. I'm going to enjoy life and live it positively. Watch me as I go through medical visits, trips to different places, and meeting other HIV and AIDS activists. Let me take you on a journey, my journey, through Justin's HIV Journal. Hello, this is Justin B. Terry Smith, and we're here in Washington, D.C. asking Washingtonians one question. What would you do if you found out your waiter or server had HIV?
I found out my server was HIV positive. I mean, I want to say it wouldn't make a difference to me. I'm not really like stereotyping or anything. I would definitely I would feel differently, but I wouldn't demand another server or anything like that. I think it's important to be educated on HIV and the way that it's transmitted. So, I wouldn't mind having them as a server at all.
Thank you.
I would say the exact same thing. I mean, I wouldn't be affected. It wouldn't change my impression of the person, and it wouldn't matter. So,
what would you do if you found out that your waiter or server had HIV?
I would take a good recommendation from the menu, and I would hopefully enjoy the food that he recommended. I don't think anything like that should be playing into where I go to eat. I think that's absolutely fine, and I think a lot of people could be biased in a city like this, but unfortunately, I work at a restaurant called Founding Farmers, and I would say more than 60% of our waitstaff is homosexual, and I think that if you don't care for it, then you don't eat there.
I don't know how we would ever know. So, I don't know. Yeah, it wouldn't be an issue.
What would you do if you found out that your server or waiter was HIV positive?
I wouldn't give a fuck. Look on Wikipedia, you know, check the sources on Wikipedia. Like, I'd like to know, but it's gotta be for real. On Wikipedia, they have those weird ass little things, but on a big thing like HIV with pages and pages of shit, they probably have a decent source, and all that shit. So shit. I mean, I wouldn't fuck a guy without a condom, but excuse my language on your microphone, but
I'm pretty sure we'll beep it out.
Right.
What would you do if you're at your favorite restaurant and you found out that your server was HIV positive?
Nothing, because I know how you transmit HIV, and unless any of those things are happening, there's no risk, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Any of what things are happening?
If he or she is bleeding onto my food, that would be an issue, but unless we're having sex during the meal.
I used to work at a restaurant, and we worked with some HIV positive people. I guess I didn't think twice about it. I feel comfortable with it.
And seeing as how you worked in the industry before, are there any laws, and did you work in DC? Are there any laws in DC prohibiting servers that are HIV positive to work in restaurants openly?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I know there are always rules, safety, wherever you work or whatever you do, especially in a restaurant where you have to be safe because it's handling food, but regardless, that's just something you follow.
So right now what we're going to do is go into a restaurant in DC to see if there's any laws prohibiting servers that are HIV positive to be open about their status. So we're here where you can get the best cupcakes in town, Tandy Sweet. And as you can see, here's proof. Express Best of 2009 winner of Best Frozen Yogurt, Tandy Sweet. Let's go talk to the manager. We've also asked store owners like Carlo to see if they would hire HIV positive people, and they're sitting there saying, yeah, I'm fine with it, no problem. Yeah, right, they cannot discriminate towards people that are HIV positive.
Give them a preference as well? Is that an option, sort of like affirmative action, give people who are HIV positive greater preference in the job market than people who are not?
I don't know anything about that, but that's a really good question. I don't think there's anything in equal opportunity that would actually give jobs to people who are HIV positive, unless it's a non-profit organization.
Right.
Under the American Disabilities Act, it is illegal to discriminate against people with HIV and AIDS, even in the food industry. Now, even if the person's HIV manifests into an AIDS diagnosis, it's still illegal to discriminate in the workplace, regardless if it's in the food industry or the government or what have you. The law covers all public employees and or employers, and also private employers if they have 15 employees or more. Regardless of hiring, firing, you cannot be discriminated against if you are HIV or positive or have AIDS. Okay. The Americans with Disabilities Act actually covers all employers, public or even private. With private employers, it's a little different. They have 15 or more employees. It does not discriminate if you have HIV based on hiring, firing, application processes, anything like that. It also states that a reasonable accommodation or modification of any job statuses will be made, and it's not going to hinder the employer's business or any kind of income that they might have or revenue, because they are not actually allowed to openly ask you if you are HIV positive or not, and whether or not it will interfere with your job. Now, I smell something good. I'm gonna go eat. Actually, so my husband and I prepared this really wonderful meal. Fish, garlic,